pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silent reflection for our servicemen and women throughout the world and for those who have passed away in our community, especially Anne Marie Stolges. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Here.
Mr. Schuster?
Present.
Dr. Rothchild? Here. Mr. McAndrew?
Present.
Mr. Smurl?
Here. Dispense with the reading of the minutes.
Third order, 3A, minutes of the Scranton-Lackawanna Health and Welfare Authority meeting held June 26, 2025. 3B, overtime report for all departments for October 2025 as provided by the City Controller and received October 24, 2025. 3C, correspondence dated October 24, 2025 from City Business Administration regarding Department of Public Works budget transfer. 3D, correspondence dated October 16, 2025 from the University of Scranton President Reverend Joseph G. Marina regarding support for the downtown Scranton Walkability Streetscape Project.
Are there any comments on any of the third order items?
Mr. Voldenberg, on 3C, could we just get clarification on what the professional services that the Public Works budget transfer is being used for?
I will, Mr. Schuster.
Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, received and filed. Any council members have any announcements at this time?
Yes, I have one. I was asked to announce that the Brooks Mine over at Naog Park this year is going to have their first haunted attraction, so it's going to be family friendly. It'll be taking place this Thursday, October 30th, and Friday, October 31st, from 5:30 to 9:30, as well as on Saturday, so the Halloween fun doesn't necessarily stop after Friday, but on Saturday from 12 to 9:30. So sounds like something family friendly to do to go down into the mine, so I'm interested in checking it out, but just wanted to share that with the public.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes,
I have a quick one. So it's no secret that we're heading into a critical moment for families across Scranton and Lackawanna County. Because of the ongoing federal government shutdown, the Department of Ag has warned that SNAP benefits scheduled for November may not be issued. So I'm asking that, all of our residents, they always step up, that we, look towards some of these food pantries, donate some non-perishables, consider a monetary donation, even volunteering your time. I know that every little bit counts, and if we come together, we can help fill the gap for our neighbors facing food insecurity in the days ahead. What I would like to do is maybe have asked the administration to put a list of all the local food pantries. I know there's more than you think there are. I know, the Catherine McCauley Center, I know Friends of the Poor has a couple locations. Catholic Social Services has a few locations. United Neighborhood Centers. So with that said, I think this information will not only help the people in need, but it'll help inform people that really want to donate and help out where to actually go in that process. If you would, again, please ask the city administration if they'd partner with us and get that information out there.
I will, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, I have one announcement. Mrs. Torba wanted me to remind everyone that the Department of Public Works will be working on Tuesday, November 4th for Election Day. That's all.
Good. And also, next Tuesday on Election Day, the meeting will be moved to Thursday, November 6th. And then also the following week for Veterans Day, we will be moving the Tuesday, the 11th meeting to Thursday, the 18th.
Fourth order, citizen participation.
First, Joan Hodowanis.
Joan Hodowan, Scranton. Well, speaking of veterans, I got an email from the University of Scranton Alumni Organization inviting me to the opening of a special exhibit honoring a life of service celebrating David Wenzel. You all remember Mayor Wenzel? Apparently he graduated in '69 from the university and graduate school 74. But for those who don't know much about Mayor Wenzel, I was out of town when he was mayor, so I wasn't around. He was a young lieutenant in the Army and was sent to Vietnam. He was in country about 30 days, and he stepped on a mine. And he lost both legs and one arm. Now, he could have spent the rest of his life sitting back, doing nothing, supported by the government, which is an entitlement he had earned. How many people pay that kind of price serving their country? But he didn't. He worked, many ways, including as mayor of the city. He and I are both life members of VFW Post 3451. So I'm going to be there. Now, it looks like they sent this invitation out to alumni. But if you're interested in going, you have to register. And you should email alumni@scranton.edu. It's November 5th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Weinberg Memorial Library, the Heritage Room on the 5th floor, and there will be light refreshments. So if you want to go, please send them an email. I don't know if they're going to take others, but I think that the whole city of Scranton should show up, and the fire marshal should say, move this to the stadium, or something like that. But I can't think of a Scrantonian that I'm more proud of than David Wenzel. So, for what it's worth. Also, for what it's worth, voting next week. I come here every week, and I listen to a lot of people come up here and voice and vent their issues. And I wonder how many people even bother to vote. And if they do vote, how they prepare for making that kind of decision. Is it, well, so-and-so didn't raise my taxes, so I'll vote for that person. Like, expenses never go up and you can never have a tax increase for the rest of your life. Or, my father was in this party, so I vote the same way, and my whole family votes in this party. But if you can, please go out and vote, exercise your right. People like David Wenzel paid a hell of a price for you to have that opportunity, so do it. I was pleased to see that the police department earned the Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Accreditation rating. There are only 3 police departments in the county that have achieved that goal. And of the 1,072 police departments in the state, only 189. And it's an indicator that our police department is adhering to the highest professional standards. Doesn't mean that they'll never make a mistake and that every police officer will be perfect, but they are making the effort to serve the community as best as they can, and I appreciate it. I noted that there's an amendment to the capital budget and the reserve fund coming up. I was kind of surprised. It's being increased by $5.6 million, but it was only a few weeks ago that they released the capital budget for 2025, and I'm wondering, did they not have time to prepare it properly, or why the turnaround to have to amend it so quickly? I mean, maybe you can explain that when you get time. And I see that overtime is at 97%, so it looks like we're going to top our overtime budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Bob Bolus?
Council Bob Bolus, Scranton. First off, regarding the assessment, we filed a lawsuit against the tax assessor who is responsible for authenticating the assessment, and that's not going to happen anytime soon. So everybody's aware of that till we get our ducks in a row. You go with this assessment and everything that they did with this Tyler, they're a bunch of idiots and very incompetent, and they'll be held accountable. That's why we filed the suit, so there's fairness and justice for everybody in this community. I went to the commissioner meeting yesterday, and I'll tell you what, Gahan and Capoletti were at the King's protest. And I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of people, but Capoletti was so unhinged and screaming and all. It's pathetic to think this is a guy who wants to be our commissioner. They're out there bitching about it. I brought the trailer from the Harris campaign. It had Pelosi, had Hillary, had Biden kissing her butt as a Centurion. Those are the queens that they voted for, and that's who they wanted, including Biden. Yet they didn't honor our flag. They stood out there going against the President of the United States, which was ridiculous. And this guy wants to be our county commissioner. I hope people have common sense and pay attention what we're doing here and put the right people in that seat. I'm happy to see the way it took place with the change there. We got commissioners now that are doing it. We took out a dictator and put him in his place. And I hope he takes another job somewhere and gets the hell out of our city. Then all of a sudden I look around and I see our mayor, Paige, and she's doing this and she's doing that and photo ops here and there. When did she decide to come out of her cage, City Hall, and go out and tell us what she's been doing, when for the last 4 years she hasn't done a damn thing in this city? The roads, Naog Park was a disaster because of incompetence, and the other pools. West Side, Novembrino, all the things they did, and now she's standing out there saying, oh, what a great person I am. Look at the lookout. Look at this, everything I'm doing. Well, it's not going to help her to beat Rob Bresnahan. He's our congressman. He's doing a hell of a job, and she's got a hell of a fight, and she's only going to be here 2 years if she wins, and then walk out the door and tell us, geez, too bad. No way in hell. It's time to make a change. And the $26 million I saw here to change the streets, street lights, stop signs, Israel, people go through stop signs just as easy as they'll go through a red light. So anybody thinks we're going to get it and building the road out, making it more difficult for vehicles to travel by narrowing the streets is pure stupidity. And if you guys vote for it and say that should be done, you just wasted a hell of a lot of money for nothing. You know, I got here a letter, a hate letter, from some cowards that said that they actually feel sorry for me. I'm basically a slime ball. The way I talk, the way I dress, well, I defend my city. I'm the only one in this city that'll be in the 32nd year, a Christmas Day dinner, feeding the people in this community on Christmas Day where I am there personally. And if these scumbags want to write anonymous letters to me, come to my face. I'll be more than happy to have a dialogue with you. But if you want to match what I've done for this city, the hundreds of thousands of dollars of disinfectant wipes that have been donated to this city, and everything else I've done, my dinner on Christmas Day, come match me before you talk about me, the way I dress, because I don't like the queer flag outside on our building, and it's still in litigation, and we're going to suffice, and that flag is never going to fly again. And Cognetti wants to have it there. This is the stuff we got to be done with. And Lackawanna County, we have a lawsuit coming. They're into me for over $18.5 million. So people are worried about me paying taxes. Let the county pay me my $18 million.
Thank
you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowles. Frank Dubas? Frank?
Good evening. I'm Frank Dubas, and I really enjoy living in this city. And I'm here to support the resolutions. If I use the term wrong, I apologize, for making the city more livable, more walkable this evening. I live in the 500 block of Lackawanna Avenue. I purchased a condo there several years ago. I also own 3 commercial properties on Lackawanna Avenue that I intend to develop. And I also tend to develop them in a way that I would offer a portion of the residences as affordable. Now, I want to tell you a brief story. About a year ago, I had dinner with some friends at AV, which is in the 300 block of Penn Avenue. And I left there about 9 o'clock at night, and I walked back. It's about a 9-block walk if you zigzag to the 500 block of Lackawanna Avenue. And on the way back, I saw 3 women walking dogs. And this was at about 9:15, 9:30 at night. What does that tell me? What does that tell you? That tells you that people feel safe and that people live here in this city. It's becoming a living city versus a city where people would come to work during the day and leave. Or maybe 50 years ago, shop on a Monday or a Thursday night and then leave. I live here. When I walk back to my residence a little bit later this evening, I will look and I will see lights on in the Store and Pfister building. I'll see lights on in the Connell building. I'll see lights on in the old Samters building and a number of buildings that are out there. I will not see lights on in the Globe building, the old Globe building, the county building. Okay, and I look and I say, we're people who would like to walk around these streets, cross Biden Street, okay, in a way that where you don't have to look up to where the University of Scranton is or where you come off the Biden Expressway to cross safely. I think that if you pass these resolutions this evening, that you will have more people downtown walking around, and we could be cities like Easton, Lancaster, or Jim Thorpe. And we could have people enjoying street-level activities and commercial businesses on street level. So I am very much in support of slowing traffic down a little bit, making it easier for a number of us who are pedestrians to walk around and enjoy the city. And maybe some of the people who drive through here very, very quickly, they'll also slow down, and maybe they'll stop. And maybe they'll also make our city a little bit better and enjoy themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Lee Morgan? I'm sorry, Lee Morgan? If you would please keep your applause silent. It's not allowed during council meetings. And speaking in back there, we can't hear when you speak back there. It's unfair to the speaker. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Lee Morgan. You know, I'd just like to start off by saying that, you know, in the next couple of years, I'll be 70 years old, and I've lived in this city all my life, and I've watched a lot of projects take place in this city. The one we're talking about now in the downtown has absolutely no merit because the downtown isn't a neighborhood. You've tried to make it into a neighborhood. And when you look at the downtown, we just have too many vacant buildings. And the people in business in the downtown, the few that are there, I think an infusion of jobs in this community would help this city with a reasonable wage base so that they could spend money in these shops and we could develop the whole city on the ground floor of these buildings. But you know what we've done is we've taken state and federal money and injected it into the downtown, and not for the betterment of the residents, because the residents in the city that live in the neighborhood, in a lot of places, there's a lot of squalor there. There's a lot of the grant money that should have been spent in the neighborhoods was diverted away from it, okay? And you know, everybody wants people to be successful, but the residents in this city have picked the wrong mayors over most of my life. Jimmy Connors was terrible. Bill Courtwright was not on the same par as him, but he was more interested in lining his pockets than doing the job of the residents. Jimmy Connors is probably one of the only people that had it right, even though he was an entertainer in some ways. And people thought it was funny that he'd be at fires and where there were police calls, but he was a guy that generally cared about the city. And there were others that cared about the city, like Ed Pisano, who made it possible for the Hill Neighborhood Association to have its own building, which later on the Hill Neighborhood just jettisoned the building. Okay, and other major problem we have in the city is neighborhood groups. Why aren't they at these council meetings voicing their opinions instead of hiding? You know, you watch the decline of a city, and you wonder, why is it that way? Well, there's a lot of different reasons. You know, we have to ask, what's happened to decorum in our country? And why is it the way it is? You know, I remember having a discussion with the Bishop of Scranton a long time ago when they went to sell the CYC. And I asked him when he was going to come out and walk amongst his flock and talk to people because of the decline of religion. And you have to ask yourself, where are the ministers and the rabbis at? Why are they hiding? Okay, we look at the decline of our society. You know, the only guy that I see at this point in my life that's trying to turn our country around is the President of the United States, to be bluntly honest. And some people could think that's funny because there's a lot of hatred in this room for that man. Okay? But he's out arresting criminals, thousands and thousands of them, that were out raping and murdering citizens. And they aren't all illegals. You know, you ask, where are the judges like Judge Robinson at one time? Most people never heard his name. He'd stand you up in front of him in his courtroom and say to you, this is the first time you're here. There won't be a second time because the next time you'll be in jail for a long time. We don't have those people anymore. They've just disappeared. The things that hold up a society are the people you elect and the people that are appointed either to commissions or authorities, and they have to have a bedrock to stand on. They have to know where they're directing people to, and they have to create opportunity for the people, okay? But by the same token, people have to have the ability to be educated, because ignorant and stupid people, they're more dangerous than an intelligent person. And anybody who doesn't think that's true maybe should do a little reading. Okay, the city has had a lot of people waste their vote. This mayor has been a waste of time. We've done so many projects backwards. Maybe it's time for people to wake up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Ron Ellman?
I'm sorry, I thought I was further down. Well, tonight I'm not going to talk about the crooked Scranton and its mayor. Instead, I'd like to mention Kelly's article in the Wednesday's paper about the greatness and glory of Antifa. Antifa is nothing more than a criminal organization, and the No Kings is a spinoff. 10 or 12 years ago, people, I was associated with some of the leaders of Antifa. It's nothing more than well, they get their funding from sources, foundation. And I know that as a fact. Antifa is just their tactics are for violence. I've been to meetings. It's composed mostly of people that want monarchies, communism, socialism, and all these signs about anti-fascism. A fascist is against communists. You know, that's how Mussolini founded it in 1919 or 20 or something. That was their only goal, was against communism. And here you got Antifa is for communism and against the principles that this country is made of. And these people, these crowds, don't even know what they're there for. When the riots were at Ferguson, Missouri, I don't remember, 10 years ago or so, I happened to know a boy that was a friend of my son's. He said he was there for $15 a day in room and board, paid for from the foundation. You people are just been taken in because of the hatred for the Republican Party and Trump. I watch all this hate-filled rhetoric at No Kings marches, whether they were nonviolent or not, it's not the subject. They're not patriotic. Now, listening to the pro-people for downtown, they're not on they don't know what's happening in the city. Your children walk probably 2/3 of the city with no curbs and cars going way above the speed limits on every street. Every street in this city is deplorable. And the ones that have been fixed are just the worst kind of repair jobs in the world. Now, you're trying to ramrod and obligate the city to $27 million that ought to go to the people of the city because it's tax money. It's not grant money, it's tax money. It's a shame. And like I said last week, you ought to be ashamed of yourself to vote because you won't be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Leslie Collins?
I'll be here until my term runs out.
Good evening, City Council. I'm Leslie Collins, President and CEO of Scranton Tomorrow. As you know, I attended last week's meeting to express Scranton Tomorrow's strong support for the streetscape project. With the final vote taking place this evening, I felt it was very important to come here once again to reaffirm that support and to highlight a few key points. Scranton Tomorrow has had a long-standing interest in this specific initiative. Developer Charlie Jefferson and former councilman, mayor, and current Scranton Tomorrow board member Wayne Evans brought the concept and the idea to Scranton Tomorrow, encouraging us to host urban planner Jeff Speck back in 2018 in conjunction with the University of Scranton. The purpose of that event was to share nationally recognized best practices for downtown walkability and for urban design. Following Jeff's presentation, there was an overwhelming interest from community stakeholders in developing a comprehensive and more modern action plan. We do believe that the city exercised their due diligence, holding public sessions with Jeff, engaging professional engineers, and collaborating with PennDOT to create a plan that is grounded in best practices. This plan addresses our outdated infrastructure and our complex traffic patterns while positioning the downtown for future economic growth and safety. The proposal, as we all know, focuses on key priorities of walkability, vehicular and pedestrian safety, on-street parking, traffic calming, and enhancing the visibility of our small businesses. Do we believe that there will be a period in time that there will be adjustments needed to be made? Yes, we absolutely do. But we need to look forward, and we need to look to the future competitiveness of the district and the projects that address our long-term growth and investment. I do know that for the past few weeks that there have been numerous questions regarding community outreach. And I would like to note that when the recent parking legislation regarding Saturday enforcement, which was proposed, Scranton Tomorrow received numerous calls from downtown businesses expressing their great concern about Saturday hours, which prompted me to appear before council at that time to oppose that specific piece of legislation. In contrast, I do think it is important for council to know that Scranton Tomorrow has not received any calls from any small business owner opposing the streetscape legislation. And I do think that that is an important piece for you to know. And for those reasons, I respectfully urge council to approve this legislation in the form that it has been presented. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. Tom McLean?
Hello, Tom McLean, Scranton resident, landscape architect, and businessman. I moved back to this city in 1989. I graduated from college, Keystone College, graduated from West Virginia with a degree in landscape architecture, worked for an engineering company in Clark Summit in the early 80s, and had to leave the area because of a recession. And when I moved back here, no one knew what a landscape architect was, never mind wanted to hire one. Well, in that 37 years since then, I've cultivated that market along with other professionals, and the government has also realized the value of it, and most of the work I've done has been public. I have to acknowledge that I've had numerous contracts with the city of Scranton, and I think I've done a good job with those, but I currently have none. I don't expect to make any, I'm in the process of retiring. I don't expect to make any money off of this plan, to put any proposals in. I have no professional, or I have personal interest in it as a citizen that I'd like to see it. I think it's long overdue. I've spent most of my career in this area, but also working in the DC market on Pennsylvania Avenue, in New York City, in New Jersey, Philadelphia, and around the state and other states. So I see that in downtown areas, walkability is key. If people do not, as Frank said, people feel safe walking on these streets at night. I went to a movie Friday night, came out. The movie was crowded, the streets were crowded, the restaurants were crowded. That's life in the city. That was not here in 1989. So I'm glad that the city has invested over these years. I want to express my support as a professional and as a citizen for this study. I think it's long overdue. I also have an interest in biking, been biking all my life, and I've been hit by cars a number of times. The streets are treacherous. If you sit on your own front porch in the city and watch traffic, you'll see people are in a hurry. They're in a hurry to get nowhere. So I agree that we have to slow things down. I know a lot of people would disagree with it for traditional reasons, but I think it's the way forward for the city. The city is building on success now, and I'd like to see that continue. And I thank you all for the job that you do.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Don Heller? Don? Yeah.
Hello, my name is Doug Heller. I am a resident of the Hill section of Scranton. I've been a homeowner there for 21 years, and I've been a resident of Scranton for a little bit longer than that. I'm here, I think, to speak on behalf of what others have spoken of. It's, according to the agenda, I think it's items 7B and 7C, which is the streetscape and redesign of some of the downtown urban setting. I attended some of the presentations where that redesign was presented to the public and outlined and, shown how to flourish in other cities. And, I think the goal is, as people have said, is to make the city more walkable, maybe more bikeable, slow things down. For instance, I just walked down here tonight from the Hill section, and some of the streets I have to cross, like, people are really moving. So I think there's value in slowing traffic down, moving away from one-way streets with 2 lanes of traffic to one-way streets with stop signs. It'll force people to slow down. And I think if they slow down, they might say, as others have thought or suggested, they might say, hey, look at that restaurant, or look at that store, or look at whatever. Maybe we should get out and, spend some of our dollars here and some of it instead of, a big box retail store in a kind of commercial district only. So, as I said, I walk and bike a fair bit, and whether it's the post office or restaurant, whatever, I see firsthand this, I think I see firsthand the benefit of slowing things down, because when I do it, and particularly if I'm walking with someone else, it's, I guess I just get concerned sometimes at the speed at which things are moving. And again, I think they're in a rush more often than not to nowhere. So if you look at some other cities, whether it's big cities like a Pittsburgh, with its bike infrastructure or its pedestrian infrastructure, or how New York City took, the Times Square district and kind of redesign that to be more pedestrian friendly, or Easton or Lancaster or Greensburg, Pennsylvania. If you look at any of these towns, this move to migrate urban cores to being pedestrian friendly and to migrate it away from being kind of built around the automobile and to build it around the pedestrian or the bicyclist tends to, in my experience, result in an economically more vibrant and healthier urban core. So I urge you guys as council members to act upon this opportunity to make downtown Scranton better for pedestrians, better for bicyclists, and better for the businesses in downtown. I thank you for listening to me, and I thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Heller. Les Spindler?
Hello, Council. Les Spindler, city resident, homeowner. Well, I, for one, had spoken here the last couple of weeks against this project. And, I think my wife is right. She asks me every week, why do you go to those meetings? They don't listen to what you say. And I'm beginning to believe she's right. Because at least 3 of you have not listened to the people that have spoken here the last 2 weeks. Experts have been at this table speaking. Fire Chief John Judge said every second counts on a fire. Replacing traffic lights with stop signs is going to slow the fire trucks down. They have to stop at every stop sign. When there's traffic lights, they just push a button in the truck and all the traffic lights change. So how is that going to affect fires? The fire trucks are going to get there slower than if there's traffic lights. Moving on. Last week, former city engineer John Pochis was here and said streetlights don't slow the traffic down, and the stop signs don't slow the traffic down either. He said the traffic lights do slow the traffic down more than stop signs. And he had a study with him that said that. The stop signs don't slow traffic down. And I would trust a traffic light crossing the street than I would people stopping at a stop sign. I urge you people not to vote for this legislation, but I know you will, because 3 of you up there just do what the mayor tells you. That's why next week on Election Day, we have to vote a supermajority in that doesn't listen to the mayor, whoever the mayor may be, and they could overrule her veto or his veto, whoever it's going to be. So when you vote next week, we need to put a supermajority in. Next thing, leaving my house this morning trying to get to Main Avenue from Euclid Avenue, and what do you know? Another truck is stuck under the bridge on Main Avenue, and this was really a bad one. It's the worst one I've ever seen. And I'm just wondering, every time that bridge gets hit by a truck, does the railroad come and inspect that bridge? Because I'm not sure it's structurally sound. I spoke about this for years. You look at the steel holding it up, and there's holes rusted out on the bottom of some of those beams. Now, the last 2 weeks, the railroad's been there. There's some cracks on the walls on either side. They're fixing the walls, but they're not fixing the bridge. That bridge can't be structurally sound after all the hits that's been taken from these trucks. Something's got to be done. Lastly, thank God, finally, the subsidence on Dorothy Street is being fixed. I walked by last Friday and DPW was there digging it out. They were also there yesterday. And I went by today. I guess I don't know what the next step is because there's a big steel plate over the hole. So I don't know what the next step is, but DPW shouldn't have been responsible for fixing that. It was the water company that originally dug that spot up. The water company should have been doing that, not our DPW. They have other stuff to do. I commend them for doing this, because if they didn't do it, I don't think that street would ever get fixed. That's another thing you people drop the ball with. You let our utilities get away with murder. They dig up our streets, they don't fill it in right, and that's what happened with this subsidence right there on Dorothy Street. So, like I said, we need to elect people next week that are for the people and not for the mayor. You people work for us. You don't work for the mayor. We put you in office. So when you vote next week, make sure you put somebody in that's going to honor your vote, and they're not going to honor the mayor. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Todd Poosley?
Good evening, Council. Todd Poosley. I'm here wearing a few hats tonight. First and foremost, I'm a proud Scranton resident. I'm also the Director of Community Development at NeighborWorks, housing and community development nonprofit based here in Scranton. We work every day to improve this city and other communities around Northeast PA. I'm also the chair of the City Planning Commission and a proud board member of the Pennsylvania Downtown Center that works with communities all across the state to improve their downtowns. I'm here tonight for one thing primarily, that's to ask all of you to vote yes to the proposed changes to our downtown. These are the types of improvements that I and other community development professionals all across the state advocate for in the communities that we serve. I mentioned the Pennsylvania Downtown Center. That organization administers a program called WalkWorks that, again, encourages these types of improvements to cities because they realize what the benefits are. I'm pleased to come tonight to also let you know that the Planning Commission has had an opportunity to review the downtown walkability plan, discuss it with City Engineer Tom Riley, and our Planning Commission fully endorses implementation of the plan, which includes some of the recommendations that you'll be voting on tonight. So I rattled off a list of people, organizations that support these types of improvements in downtowns. Why do you ask? It's because they work. They've been proven to work. They've been proven to slow down traffic, reducing the number of accidents and the severity of accidents. They make it safer for people not just driving, but people walking, riding bicycles, trying to get around in wheelchairs. They improve public health. They encourage people to get out of their cars, walk around a city instead of driving around and parking in it. And they're good for business. They've been shown to promote economic development. You heard speakers talking about people getting out, slowing down in their vehicles, which encourages them to actually see what's there and get out of their cars, patronize businesses. I also want to talk a little bit about the, what I think's been one of the real sticking points, which is the concept of replacing traffic signals with stop signs. When it comes to that, I would encourage all of you to really focus on what the experts have to say about that. Leslie Collins brought up Jeff Speck, who helped the city design the original downtown walkability plan. He's an internationally recognized and respected urban planner and walkability expert. He would tell you things like stop signs slow down traffic. All vehicles need to stop at a stop sign, unlike vehicles going through a green light. So again, that's going to slow down traffic, and reduce the likelihood of accidents. And if there are accidents, ensure that they're at slower speeds and there's less risk of loss of life. He would tell you again that encouraging people to walk around a community instead of driving is going to improve business. For all of these reasons, I'd encourage all of you to take this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, utilizing American Rescue Plan dollars that aren't going to come around again, to vote yes, support the projects that are on the agenda tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poosley. This is Owen Woosbite.
Good afternoon, council members. I appreciate you guys for taking the time listening to all of us talk about our passions and our thoughts about what should be done with some of these different projects that we're going to be discussing. Following up on what Todd was just saying, I have the disadvantage of going right after him, as he must have been reading my talking points. But I've been involved in these studies for the walkability programs for the past 7 years, involved with the city on a number of different levels, and then also worked on the plan through the Metropolitan Planning Organization. I serve on the Transportation Advisory Council for our local MPO, and we did our own study about downtown Scranton and downtown Wilkes-Barre, which was also done, but within the past 7 or 8 years. So we've been planning and we've been discussing opportunities for how to improve a lot of our downtown infrastructure, and I think that the result of what the city is looking to do is overall, based on what the experts have had to say, a positive improvement for what we can see here in the downtown. I'm an avid cyclist and frequent walker throughout downtown. I'm a member of the Anthracite Bicycle Coalition in the Scranton Rotary Club. So every Monday I'm walking down from my office to the Hilton for Rotary meetings. I'm a big fan of just making downtown more and more walkable. The thing that I would like to mention is we've heard some of the other members here talk about the improvements in downtown living and the number of people now living in downtown Scranton. There's probably more people living in downtown now than there have been in the past 100 years. And having safe, walkable streets for them to be able to go to work, walk their dog, go to a movie, that's a really important thing. You heard some people talk earlier about seeing all the lights and the windows lit up at night. There are people living downtown now. So I think it would make more sense to actually implement a lot of what we have been discussing with different engineers and planners over the past number of years. The money is allocated solely to improve the downtown infrastructure. There's $26 million that we have allocated to us through different grant funding sources. If we don't spend the money, it goes back. So it's a once-in-a-generational opportunity for us to really take and improve a lot of what we see as shortcomings with the downtown infrastructure. And if we don't do it now, there may never be another opportunity to do it. So I'm urging council to take a look at a lot of what's in the plan, We look at other similar cities down in the Lehigh Valley, like Bethlehem, Easton, or if you go up to Binghamton and up to upstate New York, a lot of similar-sized communities to the population of the city of Scranton have already done this. So we always say that we're 20 years behind up here. Let's take advantage and not become 40 years behind and just do what we have the money to do for it now. So again, I'm urging council to seriously consider this request tonight, and it'd be silly for us to turn the money back and not take advantage of it while we have the opportunity. So thank you, council.
So, Owen, what's your last name?
Worsbyt, W-O-R-O-Z-B-Y-T. I work at 213 Railroad Avenue.
Okay, and when you were involved with writing this plan?
I've been involved on the planning committee for the plan, correct? That's representing the MPO that I had referenced. So I have been involved on the planning committee while we've been developing it over the past number of years.
So you were on the planning committee that developed this plan here?
I'm a volunteer member working as a transportation professional in the field here, yep.
Okay, and you live on Railroad Ave?
I work on Railroad Avenue.
Okay. Where are you from, or where do you live?
I live in Dunmore.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Thank you. Cuba Jennings?
Good evening, Council. Thank you for your time. My name is Cuba Jenis. I am the Executive Director of the Anthracite Bike Coalition. We are a 501c3 nonprofit operating here in Scranton and in the greater Lackawanna County, advocating for cyclists, cycling safety, and doing community outreach work. I particularly work a lot with our community bicycle shop in South Scranton. It's called the Cycle Kitchen. It's a do-it-yourself community shop where youth and adults can learn to use tools, earn bicycles for no money, get free helmets, free lights, reflective safety equipment that they need. And I'm here in that context to encourage you all to vote yes on the proposals towards the downtown streetscape. I can't speak to the greater demographics of the whole city, but I can tell you that in Connell Park, where we operate the Cycle Kitchen, that 30% of households don't even own a car. And it's something like double that number are stuck sharing a car with a family member, one household with multiple people, one vehicle that they have to use together. I went to the meeting at Lackawanna College when Jeff Speck presented the final findings of this study, and I left it incredibly excited. And I'm here tonight because I think it would be absurd for us to take this, what Owen before me called a generational opportunity, to take this funding and invest it in the downtown, for us to take that money and to simply turn it back. I think that many downtown drivers enter downtown from two entrances that are essentially highways, off of Route 6 or on the Biden Expressway. And when they enter downtown, they are met with an urban landscape that encourages them to continue driving as if they're on that highway. You have two-lane, one-way roads that encourage passing behaviors. You have stoplights that encourage people to not slow down at intersections. We have wide intersections that, for many, take a long time to cross, and in many ways can just be a recipe for danger downtown. The plan that Mr. Speck presented, I think, is a net benefit to all downtown users. I think that what he brought up in his plan was that first responding times in other cities that have adopted similar plans across the board go up. Removing one-ways increases the ability for police, fire, EMTs to get to the scene of an issue across the board quicker. I hear that this plan is going to increase parking with up to 70 spaces, I think was the number, 60-something. So we're not even cutting into that. Shorter crossings for the pedestrians, I'm excited to see something like that. And just better visibility and safety for all pedestrians and cyclists downtown. I think that we have an incredible asset running right along downtown, the Lackawanna Heritage Trail. And I think that there are a lot of ways that users on that trail that might be coming from up or down valley are not necessarily encouraged to venture into the downtown area and enjoy some of the things that we have to offer there. I think that this streetscape plan has the potential to change that. I think that you guys have done a great job looking into the feasibility of this. I think that you've hired the correct professionals that have decades of experience looking into this kind of thing and coming back with reasonable, actionable goals that cities like ours could take. I think that you've done a great job at securing the funding that we need to make those things happen, and I don't want to see it simply be turned back. We say no, and we keep things exactly the way we are. Yeah, there's problems, but what can you do about it? What you can do about it is what's before us tonight. And so I do hope that you vote yes. And the last thing that I would like to leave you with is the thought that, like, I'm here on behalf of the Bicycle Coalition. I bicycle downtown all the time, but tonight I drove. But even when I drove here, at the end of that trip, I was a pedestrian getting into this building. Anyone that didn't drive their car into this room tonight, at some point of their trip tonight, was a pedestrian. And I think that's a valuable thing to think about. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next is, I'm going to probably destroy your name, G-O-M-O McDonough.
Gene McDonough. My handwriting is sloppy. I didn't have my glasses on. Once again, Council, I want to thank you for having us here. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time. Gene McDonough, I am the Executive Director of the Anthracite Bicycle Coalition. And I, too, have been involved with these plans going back to days of Chris Doherty, talking about getting cycling, safe cycling throughout the city. That's our main goal, is getting safe cycling throughout the city and further. I've been born and raised here. However, I've spent the last 30 years of my life, my professional career, traveling. I've spent it in most of the major cities throughout the U.S. I've visited most of the state capitals and worked in most of them. And what we've heard here time and time again is the investment of better walkability increases business, increases livability of the downtown, increases happiness and overall. City of Scranton residents right now are sitting on a $27 million opportunity, and we're talking about walking away from it. This is not the first time we've been here. We've been here 2 or 3 times. 1 or 2 times we've made it. We've made small pieces. Right now we have a huge opportunity to make the big impact. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us, and if we walk away from it, it's foolish. I am a numbers guy. I don't like to, I heard a lot of people saying, yeah, it will do this, it will do that. According to I have some numbers of cars versus bicycles. According to the Department of Transportation, people obtaining driver's licenses is down 20% year over year. Less and less people are driving. They can't afford it. It's more stressful. It's become too expensive. On the other hand, bikeability is on the increase. You look at e-bikes are up 13% year-over-year compound sales. Bikes are up 8% year-over-year compound sales. Sales are expected to go up from $83 billion this year to $137 billion in 2030. You see more and more e-bikes on these streets, and we're not prepared for it. If more and more bicycles are using the roads, it also means less and less cars, which means less traffic, which means less investment in the macadam. We don't have to be paving all the time if more and more bikes are on the road. We heard time and time again stop signs versus street lights. This isn't a hard stop from what I've told. We have a 30-day and then another 60 days to look at this and make changes. And what I've seen, so we should be able to at least try this and see what happens. We're not ripping the street lights out day one. According to Science Direct, a research company, by introducing stop signs in approved areas, it typically reduces injuries for pedestrians by 18% and death by 30% and a 53% decrease in bike and car incidents. We're thinking about walking away from this. Average speed is reduced by 60% to 12 miles per hour when approaching a stop sign. When you're approaching a street light, you're looking for that yellow. If it starts to turn yellow, cars speed up. If somebody's walking into the intersection, they don't see that. They're looking at the street light. Somebody gets hit, injuries worse. You have stop signs, people are anticipating science. Again, based on, to me, I have concerns over stop signs. Don't get me wrong. I will live in the Hill section. I watch day in and day out people running stop signs. What I'm being told as part of this investment is an increased enforcement on stop signs and in general traffic and education. People in Scranton don't know how to cross the street. People in Scranton don't know how to let people cross the street. People in Scranton don't know how to ride with bikes next to them. That's education. I'm told that those three things come together. I think we have a winning plan here. My twist on this is the current plan. I mean, I don't drive downtown simply because I hate the lights down here. The timing on them is horrendous. You sit at lights. I came through Mulberry Street the other day. I sat at lights, no traffic going by. I sit there for 30 seconds, 40 seconds. If we have street lights or stop signs, again, I don't know if I'd put them on Mulberry Street. I forget where the plans are. You're not sitting at these lights. We're not wasting energy. We're not wasting time. People are, you know, again, it comes down to education. Sales. I hear, you know, trying to increase. I'm going to run out of time. I won't go on. I want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for your service. And please vote yes on this. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Don't walk away from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDonough. Bob Durkin?
Good evening. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to come before council. I'm Bob Durkin. I'm President and CEO of the Greater Scranton Chamber of Commerce. In this instance, representing over 450 businesses, Scranton-based businesses, from which we have some 30,000 employees. So Leslie Collins mentioned before, and I thought it was interesting that she hadn't heard anything negative about this, and I think that speaks volumes. Let me layer something else on top of that. This past week, we brought Tom Riley in to do a presentation to ultimately in a virtual setting for some 50 of the Scranton-based businesses that are members of the Chamber of Commerce. Not one of them had anything bad to say. In fact, overwhelmingly, that group was totally in favor of this. So I'm standing here before you today asking you to support this. We think it's a great idea. I want to pause and tell you a little story here, as it were. This last week, we had over at the Hilton an organization called the Pennsylvania Economic Development Association. It's their annual conference, and we hosted it. The Chamber was the host. Some 160 to 170 economic development professionals from all over the Commonwealth, professionals who are involved in this type of work, that is to say, community-based economic development. And it was really fun because I had a chance to do an opening speech, as it were, or talk to these folks. And I asked them, while they were going to be in town for 2.5 days, to please spend some time walking around the downtown. Take a look, see what you see. And one of the stories I told them was that over the last several years, probably, and I've been in this position for 12 years, I've probably had, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, 30 or 40 different media outlets from all over the globe, and the biggest media elements in North America, talking about Scranton for various reasons. One of the reasons that early on they used to call about, they wanted to compare us to Detroit. So when Detroit was going through their bankruptcy, these media elements were looking for somebody or some community that looked like a mini Detroit. And when those that came, and many have come, again, from all over the globe, when they have, invariably, what they say to me is, I just walked around downtown, this isn't what I was expecting. They're expecting something really bad, and it's not. This downtown is fantastic. And when I was talking to those PETA, as it's called, the Pennsylvania Economic Development Association professionals, and challenged them to take a look around the downtown, it was fun for me to sort of just stand there and say, just look at what's happening just around the square and around the perimeter of the square. There's the concentric circles. You can hardly find a single block where there hasn't been major development. And the major developers, we all know who they are, including Scranton's own Casey Donahue, with the work that they've done at the Community Bank building and the Oppenheims building. You know, Charlie Jefferson, John Basiliga, Don Mamano, Art Russo, and others. They've invested literally hundreds of millions of dollars, mostly their own dollars, into this downtown. And I think this plan, this is an opportunity to complement what the private sector has done already by making downtown Scranton that much better. Courthouse Square is a gem, but you can't drive around it. You have to go way out of your way to loop around this. The downtown, or the opportunities also as a part of this plan to take the quality of the streetscape improvements that have been made on Courthouse Square and bring them to the other side of the streets are just going to make our downtown that much better. It's a great city. It's a great town. This is a great opportunity to add to the investments that have already been made to make Scranton and downtown Scranton even better. So I hope you'll support this downtown walkability study. And
Mr. Durkin?
Yeah.
That meeting that you had the other day, you said it was a virtual meeting?
Yeah.
And there was about 50 downtown businesses or Scranton?
Scranton-based businesses.
Do you have any input from that meeting or a list of those businesses that you could provide council? I mean, not right at this moment,
we didn't
but-
take minutes on it, Tom. We just basically, it was Tom Riley giving the presentation, Q&A afterwards, an opportunity for me to talk to people. We had about 25 in the room, 25 virtually.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Santarello?
I'll be very brief, but thank you for having me today. And Dan Santanello, President and CEO of Fidelity Bank. I'm here tonight to show my support of the walkability study. We are making a significant investment, as I'm sure you folks know, in the downtown. In April, we'll be moving 165 bankers into the iconic Scranton Electric building. And I've had the opportunity to attend the session at the Chamber of Commerce where the engineer spoke about the project. And I truly believe that this project will make the downtown much safer for my 165 bankers that'll be in the downtown on a daily basis, as well as all those that live in the city. So I strongly encourage you to support this ordinance, and I appreciate you allowing me this opportunity to talk. Thank you.
Thank you. That is all for our sign-in sheet. Anyone else like to address council?
Hi, my name is Sharon Smith. I didn't know I had to sign into sheets. This is my first time coming to one of the council meetings, so thank you for letting me come up here and speak with you.
Can you pull the mic down a little closer? There you, yeah, so we could hear you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me speak with you and taking my concerns. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever come to one of the city council meetings, and I did not know that I had to sign in. But the other day I was down there to pay my taxes, and as I'm standing in line, the garbage fees are put in with the taxes. No problem, that's fine, that's beautiful, you know what I mean? But when you fall behind on them and you have to make arrangements, it goes through Porfanov Law Associates. And they have, I don't know if you've done your investigations on them, due diligence, whatever you'd like to refer to it as, but they're not the best company to be going through. The garbage fee, the refuge fee is $300. If you do not, I'm 1 year behind the 2024 ones I owed. And when I went down to pay my taxes, I was talking about it with the nice lady that was working there, to get everything set to go pay my taxes. And she said, don't pay them, because as soon as I was there, another lady came in and started talking about the refuge fees too, and how they go to Porfanov Law Associates. Their fees are outrageous, and the fee that you guys charge for the garbage is $300, and that's acceptable, right? I can understand that. I fell behind my fees. It says they send me a letter to call them and talk to them to get this. Now I owed it come out to $409. I said, well, I don't have $409 to pay right now. And they refused, blatantly refused. I have a letter here that says that they do not make payment arrangements for such low fees. So they gave me 10 days to come up with $409. I get paid every 2 weeks, and it made it virtually impossible. And within 22 days, I received a letter in the mail that I owed $584 for their fees that they had taxed onto it. Now, that's a 22 days between it jumped from $409, it went from $300 to $409 to $584. That's doubling the fees on people who are of low income and can't afford to pay it. So it is putting people in a financial chokehold. They send a letter, and with the letter, they threaten to put liens on people's houses, $175 extra fee if it was not paid within that 10 days, and just outrageous things. And then what concerned me, too, is because of them doing that, is borderline criminal. Actually, it might be criminal. There has been multiple lawsuits against them, and what it is it's called the Federal Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. They were being sued for that in the past. The Pennsylvania Fair Credit Extension Uniformity Act that they were being sued for, Pennsylvania Unfair Trade Practices and Consumer Protection Law. And now I had to make arrangements. I had to ask to speak with the supervisor on this situation, and was told, since I am a reoccurring customer, because I had fallen once before behind on my garbage refuge fees, that she would knock $75 off of it. I said, you're a collection agency. You're able to barter with people and make arrangements so that it makes it affordable. So you're taking people who are on low income and throwing them back farther, putting liens on their houses, which will make people go up for foreclosure. When you drive around the city of Scranton and you see the houses, you cannot. You see all these homes, and they're nice homes, but guess what? They're falling apart and ragged. And when they did these home assessments, it's going to raise everybody's taxes. A friend came to my home the one day and said, Cher, you've been living here because I'm from the Valley. And he goes, you've been living here for 10 years. He goes, well, how come I bought a fixer-upper house? How come I did not do any upgrades on my home out of fear of what the taxes are going to raise to and not being affordable? Right now I'm collecting unemployment. I go down to the unemployment office, the kiosk machines. I have to pay to go in there, being on low income right now, and pay all these extra fees that are going on, and it's not fair. It's making it unaffordable for people to live within the city, and
Sharon,
I have a huge concern, and it's not just me.
Can I ask you, will you give your phone number and information to Allison so that we can contact you tomorrow? This is a lot to go over, and we really, to do it here is impossible. If you will give her your contact information, and then I will move it forward tomorrow.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yes, I see that a timer that you have here, so thank you very much for all that. Yes, I will
Just a number or an email address?
And maybe at some point, we could have Portnoy come in for a caucus and have a little chat with them. Mr. Voldenberg, if you could see if that's a possibility.
I will, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, gentlemen.
Tom Coyne, Manuka. This is the last council for people to see and decide who to vote for back at the polls. Lights versus stop sign. People watch your government at work and vote based on it. There's a stop sign. In a stop sign, there is no duration to stop versus a light, and that makes a stop sign a lot less safe for a pedestrian. Mr. King put forth a false argument of, would you prefer to be hit by a car going 35 or one going 50? If cars will slow down and not dart from intersection to intersection because of stop signs. The answer to the question is, being hit by a car going 35 or 15 miles per hour, I'd prefer to not be hit by a car at all. If your basis is what speed you want to get hit by, you're not doing it right. Dr. Rothchild, who's not here, had a very good argument that she had a conversation with her kid on crossing a street. Repeating back is not understanding. They do not get the concept of a driver not seeing them over the steering wheel and over the hood of a vehicle, or what getting hit by a car and dragged or being run over by 2,500 pounds would do to them. The question for any of you and your children at the age where they would start crossing the streets by themselves, going to school, or just walking around is, would you tell them if they had the options to cross at a light or a stop sign, where would you send them to? Stop signs are safer than if stop signs are safer than stoplights, are we planning to mandate the removal of stoplights across the city near schools and putting up stop signs because it's safer to cross at stop signs? We better remove all the stoplights at schools then. We know it's not going to be addressed because it defies logic and does not support the intent of the walkability reasoning that the administration puts forward. Don't address something that doesn't support the agenda. Mr. King said it best. Now, if he can't speed to catch lights and he has to deal with stop signs, he will avoid Center City, so how will that improve downtown's businesses? The administration held off submitting this for a vote. I get this. The administrative repeatedly and with intent holds the voting choice off until there's no time to evaluate it. Rob the people of any input. The walkability study was presented at Lackawanna College on April 4th, 2024, and it took over a year and a half to get here, and we're now in a rush. Because after that meeting, when the public comment identified issues that we were promised follow-up meetings, never happened. It was hidden from the public, and they were intentionally not included. They listed only the filet mignon, stakeholders, and made choices directly and introduced it late enough in the game to create urgency. It's going to be a 3-2 tonight. Smurl already said this on introduction and listening to the public. His vote was cast in stone before the people had an input. So we might as well move on because it's already done until the next council comes forward and has a chance to reverse or amend it. Moving on, the mayor contends she can put a deputy mayor in place for a job they're not allowed to do. Yes, we have internet connectivity and texting as an option, but the mayor is not supposed to be a phone-in job. Was she available when she was delivering her child on text? Was she actively working when she was in Ireland with Biden? Or when she was at the White House for the appointment to the Biden administration? Did anyone have things authorized on her behalf at any time she was away that she signed on return? Well, we'll never know. Yes, the mayor can assign anyone as deputy mayor, but the limit on that power is you can't assign someone to cover a position that violates the Home Rule Charter. But we ignore that anyway, so why do we care? The mayor puts forth open and transparent government, and we see that by a locked city hall. She talks about the unsheltered task force that does nothing because if it was a decision-making body, it would have to have minutes and meetings open to the public, and we know that's not happening. She puts forth caring, but I've not heard from a firm code blue solution on the books, nor any plans with food stamps on hold how the city will step up, not even a sponsored DPW food drop-off to take care of the population. She stole the people's choice with the recovery fund by telling us with Naog Pool that it couldn't be done. They lied multiple times saying the fund couldn't be used there. I've done multiple right-to-know requests, and it seems that public information isn't the right to know, and they need to check for legal review on things that are listed as public information. Stonewalling from this administration is horrible, and it lacks clarity.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good night.
Good evening, Council. Virgil Argenta, Scranton, city resident, council candidate. I'm here today to discuss an ongoing concern impacting both our neighborhood and the wider community. Frequent incidents of trucks colliding with the North Main Avenue Railroad Bridge at Euclid Ave. As a lifelong resident of Scranton's Tripp Park neighborhood and current resident of North Main Avenue Hyde Park, I'm deeply concerned about the daily disruptions this issue has been causing. These accidents affect children on the way to school, individuals commuting to work, or attending appointments, placing additional strain on our already understaffed and overworked police department. Let's not forget, we also have Tripp Park Elementary School that's affected when this road is shut down. Today it was down for over 4 hours. Furthermore, attempts by truck drivers to avoid the bridge have resulted in property damage, including cracked sidewalks, damaged vehicles, damaged lawns, and in some cases downed wires when they get lost trying to maneuver to the Tripp Park section to get back onto North Main Avenue. The increased impact of these incidents is significant and warrants prompt attention. Lack of enforcement and lack of proper signage contributes to this problem. Lackawanna Avenue and North Main Avenue, the gateway to West Scranton, has no signage. Linden Street, North Main Avenue, one sign, obscured by a sign on a pole. Orm Street in North Main, one sign stating 12-foot 8, 500 feet ahead. Far Street in North Main, one sign, 12-foot 8 inches plus a flashing light for a traffic light ahead, which is confusing. Some ARPA funds could be used more effectively elsewhere than only on the downtown traffic light changes. For instance, we previously had specialized highway motorcycle units full-time in our police department to handle traffic calls. You're the legislative body, council. It's recommended that all signage on both approaches to the bridge clearly indicate height restrictions. Ordinances, maybe. Another suggestion is to restrict tractor-trailer access beyond a certain point, permitting only local delivery vehicles. Coordinate with DOT or the PUC patrols to enforce regulations. I'll guarantee those drivers will pay attention after a couple times being pulled over by those guys. Make sure the drivers are properly licensed. You watch the same news that we all do, the traffic accidents lately with the trucks. As the legislative body council, you should draft an ordinance with some very hefty fines. When my wife and I owned the West Scranton Wendy's, we partnered with the traffic officials and Corporal Bachman to use our lot for inspecting trucks that ignored the bridge signs in all violations. Let's work together to keep the community safe. For you elected officials and candidates, you've highlighted your links to Tripp Park and West Side in previous campaigns and campaign flyers. Now is the time to show your real commitment for Tripp Park, West Side. Speaking of Tripp Park, is there any truth that the Tripp Park Community Center is going to be returned to the city? Are we making out with the welcome sign to Tripp Park on North Main Avenue that we've been waiting for years for? Maybe we can talk about the Tripp Park West Scranton Crime Watch group that was disbanded. How about the numerous B&Bs in our neighborhood that nobody addresses? How about the illegal camper where the woman overdosed with the daughter in the house for 3 days that's still sitting there? Is this your idea of representing Tripp Park? If you're from Tripp Park, I'm sure you know that in 1952, number 20 Samuel Morris Scranton Public School, 8th grade touchdown football league, held the champion's title for 4 years. From 1949 to 1952, number 20 Sam Morris won 14 championships. You know who was on that team? My dad.
Thank you, Mr. Argenta. Anyone else?
Good evening, Scranton City Council and residents. Mike Mancini, Scranton. As an independent, I see things for what they truly are. I pay attention to the local stuff and help however I can because I care. I ask important questions and remain unanswered. Most of our public officials neglect to fulfill their duties and answer those who elected them. They do not earn the votes from those who oppose them with good quality work and a willingness to do whatever possible to make Scranton a safe and proud city. While every business in Scranton is inviting with open doors, City Hall remains closed. Scranton is the future for so many families, or has been for decades. Ask yourselves, would your parents or grandparents vote for a mayor with their own plans above yours? To return our city to each of us, we all need to vote. This critical local election includes judges, district attorney, county commissioner, school board, mayor, 3 council seats that will require your voice. Personally, I will vote for character and experience. We will be blessed with whomever we choose for the Scranton School Board. We have an amazing district attorney who will ensure, with the right administration in Scranton, he will become the best DA in decades. I've known Tom Welby for a long time. His resume, experience, and natural ability to always do the right things for others is what's needed in one of those council chairs. God bless your family in this time of need. 3 council seats are up for vote. I cannot vote for anyone who is currently under investigation by the State District Attorney General's office for election fraud and hides behind 3 attorneys. You cannot even get 100 votes. You need to answer the citizens and the State Attorney General. Mr. Smurl, good luck with your legal dilemma. 2 years ago, we voted for 2 council members. However, Dr. Rothchild only serves the mayor. Not once did she oppose the mayor. We got that last one wrong. Mr. Schuster, you shut down the West Scranton Crime Watch. You went into business for yourself. Like Mr. Smurl, you deserve not 1 vote. I gathered 267 signatures on petitions for mayor that I personally witnessed. I took the time to speak to many city residents and could see their same concerns. I show up for them. The timing was not right. December 12th will be sentencing for the person who took my son's life. That chair downstairs will welcome the 80th anniversary of National Bakery, 250 years as a country, possibly a railway system, and so many other choices to be made daily for a future. For most of his life, he has served our community in various capacities. His resume in wanting a welcoming future for our families speaks volumes. He knows the glass ceiling because he witnessed things firsthand with the Jimmy Connors administration. Our future needs to be in the hands of those who choose to do the right things. He knows how to put the pieces back together. Gene Barrett deserves your vote. I will be proud to vote for him on Election Day. Look at our roads, 4 less deep end pools. In our current crime climate, when you vote for the future of Scranton, we had 14 murders, 19 arrests in 5 years, 73 opioid-related deaths in 5 years, not 1 arrested. In 7 days, we give the city back to the citizens where it belongs. With 0% reporting, Paige Cognetti, you're fired. That's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. Veterans gave their time and lives to allow for our freedoms. Voting is one of them. Our police and firefighters put their lives on the line daily. DPW probably does functions that most cannot accomplish. Our clerical staff continues to meet the requirements of our citizens currently behind locked doors. Vote for character for your future. Once a few fall, they all fall. Our city deserves so much better. You deserve better. It's time to flip the script and give the city back where it belongs. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, Scranton. I'm Rick Little. Very interesting things have happened in the last day with the governance of this area. We got the we got the local governance, we got the county governance, we got the state governance, we got the national governance, and we just had a No King's Day. A lot of paid protesters, but that's an argument. I mean, they're paid. I'm glad Mr. King survived.
I wasn't allowed to go. There was no kings.
They were out to get you, right? Well, as an elderly person who's lived in Scranton for 20 years, and I lived in Adams Avenue high-rise for 14 and a half years. I spent all my time downtown. I was in family court for 15 years trying to get the visitation orders enforced so I could see my daughter, and to do that I had to have a car and work construction. I had 4 cars, and I ended up in the building that was built for the elderly, Adams Avenue high-rise, and I'm living in there. And the moment I walked in there, I could see that this was a criminal racket. I mean, the way it was doing, things were happening all the time, just flooding all the time, mainly water, but from sprinklers. And I got to see that it was an insurance scam, and it involved the Scranton Police and Scranton Fire Department signing off. And I'm living in there, and they're violating my human rights, my Fourth Amendment rights, just bursting into my room. And I call the police, and the police always say, see the manager, which I did. And I spent 5 years learning law and trying to hold on to my apartment there, which I eventually lost and became homeless. And that's why I'm running for mayor of Scranton, because I have a great understanding of all these things that have gone on. And I realized that where I was living was an election farm. Everything's connected to the Board of Elections. I mean, you look at Lackawanna County. Mr. Frederickson is the lawyer for Lackawanna County. He's also the lawyer for the election board. Everything's connected with elections. But about the elderly thing and the walkability thing, I walked all over around here. It seems the whole walkability thing is a diversion from the bigger 15-minute city, evil globalist plan coming to this area. Because most of the people are either elderly or they're students. That's basically how it was. And how it is, I believe. We'll never know, because haven't had a census, haven't had a lot of things. I think focus should be on representative governance, fair representative governance. So when a person has a problem, there's a certain structure, and they can go someplace. Now, I came here about 6 years ago because they confiscated all my stuff in my storage area, which they did till the end when I got evicted. And I get evicted, and I'm dealing with bad judges. And I'm running out of time, but do not retain any judges anywhere, anyhow, anywhere, and please vote.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Fifth order, 5A motion.
Good evening, Council. It's been a while since I've been here, 5 years, I guess. My name is Wayne Evans. I'm a downtown resident. I'm not here tonight as a former mayor or a city councilman or a city planner. I'm here tonight as a resident of downtown Scranton and the current owner of 4 downtown properties. My wife Nancy and I moved to downtown Scranton over 8.5 years ago. It is our home. This is our neighborhood. This is where I walk every single day. Over the last 8.5 years, I've been a pedestrian in downtown Scranton, crossing these streets and these sidewalks on probably well over 3,000 different occasions. This is where I talk to my neighbors, engage business owners, and all of the great local developers. And yes, I have discussed this project and the walkability of our downtown with many of the people I come in contact on a daily basis. In fact, tonight I have letters of support from a highly impactful group. The following developers who have invested hundreds of millions of dollars in our downtown, who collectively own dozens of buildings, provide even more storefronts, and have built and leased 600 luxury apartments and thousands of square feet of office space. Their support speaks volumes to the importance of this project. Charlie Jefferson, Jefferson Warner LLC, Art Russo, ATR Properties, Don Mamano, DFM Properties, Nick Dye and Casey Donahue from D&D Realty, John Basiliga, J. Bass Realty. I am honored to be here tonight as a downtown resident and to represent these accomplished individuals and who have done so much for our downtown. You know, I've always been interested in urban planning, and quite a few years ago, I was accredited by the Congress of New Urbanism through the University of Miami School of Architecture. I'd like to think that my passion for urban planning helped bring Jeff Speck to Scranton 7 years ago. And after reading his book, Walkable City, How Downtown Can Save America One Step at a Time, I find Jeff's book to be a wake-up call, not only for me, but for urban planners and downtowns across America. His concept was basic and simple. The status quo in many cities like Scranton was not working, and our car-centric downtowns were unsafe for pedestrians and equally bad for small businesses that were struggling in downtowns everywhere. But before I get into some of the details of the actual streetscape project, I want to explore the status quo that got us to this point. So on October 15th, 2015, a resident of downtown Scranton appeared before this council, or the council in these chambers. The following is an excerpt of the comments made that evening by that resident. I'm also very concerned about the number of pedestrian injuries and fatalities in downtown Scranton over the last few years. As you may know, on October 4, 2015, Loretta Kopinski, a resident of the German Hotel, was killed at the intersection of Wyoming and Lackawanna Avenue. And now there was another pedestrian killed at the same intersection by a bus not many years ago. And then there was a resident, I believe, from Mulberry Towers that was in a wheelchair that was killed at the intersection of Mulberry and North Washington not many years ago. There was another incident of a pedestrian killed at the intersection of North Washington and Linden Street not many years ago. My point is we have invested $5.6 million with PennDOT for these wonderful traffic signal systems, which I'm not sure were ever properly synchronized. The intent was to make the flow of traffic better for motorists and hopefully the safety of pedestrians. But I don't think it's working. I think it's something the city should be looking into, and I think council should be pushing for some answers. That was a resident in 2015. So as a city councilman in 2015, I took the request seriously, especially as pedestrian deaths and injuries continued for the next 10 years. I also took notice at the time of the failure of the traffic light project mentioned by the resident that spoke before City Council. This is the same project that was discussed by a speaker just last week. To offer some additional perspective, the traffic light project referred to was started in 2012. and it was still being worked on into the mid-2013. It was riddled with delays and issues with synchronization of the lights. It was, in fact, a PennDOT spokesman in June of 2013 commented on that exact process in an article written by Jim Lockwood of the Times-Tribune by saying the following: "It's sort of like a 50-sided Rubik's Cube. As soon as you change one, the timing at the intersection, it affects the others." So I guess the question remains, with this complicated 50-sided Rubik's Cube design of a traffic light system, was it ever properly synchronized? So thank you to that resident, Joan Hodowanitz, for your insightful comments 10 years ago. Your comments about a broken system designed by PennDOT, a design whose primary features are one-way streets and an overabundance of traffic signals, a design whose main priority was moving cars efficiently over basic pedestrian safety, a design that still haunts us today. That is our status quo. And what is before Council this evening for a final vote is what I believe is the appropriate answer to that failed effort. So briefly, I want to discuss two main components of the planned project. First, one-way streets versus two-way. What are the safety benefits of two-way streets? We've heard some tonight. 1, slower traffic speeds. 2, fewer severe collisions. 3, better navigation for emergency vehicles. 4, improved pedestrian safety. There are also business-friendly aspects of the plan as well for two-way streets. 1, improved access and visibility. 2, more direct routes. 3, more inviting streetscape. 4, supports mixed-use development like storefronts and restaurants on the first floor and residential units on the upper floors. In fact, it should also be noted that the studies have shown an increase of 30% in commerce of stores and businesses along two-way streets versus one-way streets. So in conclusion, two-way streets balance mobility with livability. They slow cars down, make places safer, easier to navigate, and are more appealing. All of which supports downtown vitality, business success, and pedestrian safety. So briefly, I want to talk about four-way stops. Number 1, they slower vehicles' speeds. Drivers must come to a full stop at a four-way stop, reducing vehicle speeds near crosswalks. Slower speeds give drivers more time to see and yield to pedestrians. Any collisions are much less severe. In many cases, these slower speeds are the difference between life and death for a pedestrian crossing a crosswalk. 2, it increases eye contact and awareness. At four-way stop signs, drivers and pedestrians often make eye contact, increasing mutual awareness. 3, pedestrians cross one lane at a time. Because cars from all directions stop, pedestrians typically only have to worry about one lane or vehicle at a time. This is especially helpful for children, the elderly, and the disabled pedestrians. 4, no conflicting turn movements. At traffic lights, right or left turning vehicles often conflict with pedestrians crossing with the walk signal. Fewer signal compliance issues at traffic signals. Drivers more often than not run red lights or rush to get through yellow lights, which can be deadly for pedestrians in the crosswalk. And there's more, but I'll continue. I would also like to reinforce, as has been somewhat overstated, 35 traffic lights are not being removed for four-way stops. The truth and the facts are that in the core of downtown Scranton, the area between Jefferson Avenue and Mifflin Avenue and Mulberry Street and Lackawanna Avenue, there will be a grand total of 6 intersections that will have four-way stops. Another 2 that will have two-way stops. So I would hope you all believe that the choice is clear. One choice remains what we know as the status quo. The current failed plan that our own history has shown is littered with pedestrian fatalities, injuries, and danger as it exists even today. And you can choose the path that is before you tonight, a safer, more walkable, business and pedestrian-friendly plan whose core principles have been proven to work and thrive in cities large and small across America. This plan and project just may be the final link to having a downtown Scranton that will once again be the economic hub that drives the entire Northeast. It will once again be the undeniable social and cultural center, and it will continue to be the historic core of our community while bringing a vibrant quality of life for our residents, businesses, and visitors. And finally, maybe even more important than all of that, after all these years, it will be safer to cross the street in downtown Scranton. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Fifth
Frank?
order, 5A motions.
Mr. King, do you have any motions or comments?
Yes, I have a few. I love how people come in and criticize. A good percentage of people come in and criticize, take pop shots. When we sit here respectfully and listen and take it, that's fine. I'm a big boy. It's water off a duck's back. I can take it. I find it interesting how none of them stay to listen to us speak. They're all gone, most of them, the vast majority. That having been said, one individual said, shame on me for voting whichever way I'm going to vote. Well, I was elected to a 4-year term, and my term does not end until the last meeting in December. So I plan to be here to vote like I have all four years. It wasn't 3 years and 10 months. It's 4 years, so I will be here to do that. I sit here and listen to criticism about Joe Biden. Well, I can give you 67 million reasons why Joe Biden was good for the city of Scranton. It was said, shame on me for voting for streetscapes, which I'm telling you right now, I'm voting for it. I think it's the right thing to do. Shame on me for supporting $23 million in stormwater remediation on East Mountain, North Scranton, West Scranton, Manuka, all projects, which several of them are well underway now. Shame on me for voting to support $24 million in park upgrades. Connell Park, Naog Park, Robinson Park, Oakmont Park, Weston Field, Weston Park, Doherty Park, Novembrino Park, and more. Shame on me for voting to put funding for $4.1 million to renovate this beautiful building, this historic building. Shame on me for supporting refinancing $36 million bond, which saved the taxpayers $2 million in interest payments. Shame on me. Shame on me for supporting all the paving projects that have gone on throughout this city, including most of a huge portion of East Mountain, a number of major streets in Southside, and all over this city. Is there more that needs to be done? Absolutely. And hopefully that will continue over the next few years. Shame on me for supporting small business loans. Shame on me for trying to do the right things and support this city. When I started here, we had no credit rating. No credit rating. We're 30 years financially distressed. Now we have a BBB+ investment grade S&P rating. If that isn't progress, I don't know what is. I was an Eagle Scout when I was a kid, and we were always taught to leave the place in better shape than when you got there. I'll tell you what, when I leave here in December, I have no regrets, and I'm not ashamed of any vote that I've taken. And my vote has been my vote. It's nobody else's vote. And that's it. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. King. Mr. Schuster, do you have any motions or comments?
A few. So we had a while back now, I'm switching the subject, but a while back we spoke about MS4 permitting. I wanted to get an update on where we're at in terms of communication with other municipalities in regards with stormwater and as well as our MS4 permitting. That was something that was seen as something that we had to do fast at that point in time, and we haven't heard an update since, so if we could just get an update on that.
I will.
I did reach out to Mr. Romantics over on 2501 Boulevard Ave. Can we please send the administration a message to please give him a call? he gave city council a call probably 3 weeks ago. We asked them to reach out, and he hasn't heard from them since. He's left several messages, but if they could just reach out to him about his water problem that he has here, that would be.
I'll follow up with them in the morning.
Thank you very much. There's a property at 3103 McCarthy Street in Manuka. There was a fire there a couple years ago. The house is in disrepair. There's rodents. There's some drug activity that the neighbors are seeing. They came to zoning in the past. They've sent emails and made some phone calls, but in speaking to some of the neighbors, they were looking for an update on what's occurring with this property. So if we can get an update on that property.
I will, sir.
Thank you. Also, can we send correspondence to DPW regarding the 2200 of Gallagher Court? Many potholes that are there in that area, and the resident's been calling for a few months and hasn't heard anything back.
I will.
All right. I did get some calls from the people near Weston Field. Very happy about skate park and park renovations that are occurring over at Weston Field. They're thrilled that the city's investing in their neighborhood. They did have a concern, however, because a couple nights during the week, there were people there skating until like 2 and 3 in the morning. So they just wanted an update on when does the park close? Will it be closed at dusk? What are the hours? And is the city going to enforce those hours?
I'll investigate.
Thank you very much. Also tonight, I did get a petition from residents of East Mountain regarding the Airbnbs. I did turn that over to Mr. Voldenberg, so council could take a look at it. He can get it to all of us. There was about 200 signatures on that, and something to consider when we're looking to make amendments to our zoning ordinance, if that's the case.
That's correct.
All right, thank you very much. That's all, Mr. Smurl.
Thank you, Mr. Schuster. Dr. Rothchild, do you have any motions or comments?
Yes, I wanted to bring this up. It was mentioned a couple times tonight, and there's some good ideas from a resident regarding the issue we have with trucks, tractor trailers hitting bridges in our city, which had happened again today. So I know in the past we've advocated for clear signage to be posted, and obviously that hasn't done the trick because these trucks are still trying to get under the bridge anyway. So I do want to look at, as a council, anything that we can do to strengthen our ordinances and to really enforce it, as well as taking a look at the quality of those bridges, making sure that the Railroad Authority gets out to investigate them and maintain the safety. And anything in reference to the legislation that we have in seventh order tonight, I'll reserve for when we get there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rothschild. Mr. McAndrew, any motions or comments?
I got a couple. So I did drive by again on the way to work, the truck that got stuck under the bridge on Main. I brought up somewhat of a solution maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So when a truck comes up Lackawanna and approaches Main Avenue, the signage that tries to deter them, first of all, isn't clear, and it's too late. By the time you see that signage, you're already turning right. And then guess what? Once you turn right, there's no turning back. So you either go straight down Main, try to take an artery up through West Side, and your GPS is going to try to take you to Kaiser, but there's no path to Kaiser on that part of Main Avenue. So then they chance it, I guess. I don't know. I'm not in the cab when they make this decision, but they chance it and get stuck under the bridge. So I believe that we have to revisit this again. And if it's PennDOT or us, or we just have a communication or a little collaboration, I think we need a larger sign, a lot lower coming up Lackawanna before they even come anywhere near Main Avenue, to alert them and address what can happen. I still can't fathom in 2025 that there's not really a good app out there, or GPS or something that can help navigate these drivers away from all this. So please send that correspondence or inquiry to see if we can have a little more conversation about this, because it's constant. And it's not just on Main, but what's been done isn't working. So we have to find something that's going to work. I'm going to speak to tonight instead of in seventh order. Okay, so first of all, thank all of you for coming. This is good government, when people come and share and voice their opinions and concerns. The same amount of people, or even more, I heard from outside of here, which is good government too. Like I said last week, I sit at the pleasure of the taxpayer in this seat, the taxpayer and the voter. I represent them, no one else. And I take my role seriously. So I'm a good listener, right? And there are studies and data to support both ways, all right? Replacing stop signs or replacing lights with stop signs. There's pros and cons for each. And I actually looked at it and did my own little research. And to be clear, that this, what we're voting on, 7B and 7C, isn't contingent to the whole project, all right? Do I like that it is going to be a little more walkable, right? Maybe it's still walkable without 7B and 7C passing, all right? Are we going to get enhanced lighting that I'm for down near the Radisson? Yeah. We're going to get new sidewalks, new curbs, new paving. The stormwater can be addressed during this project. Yes. Underground utilities, like it, love it. There's a whole project. There's not just the street signs and the lights. And a vote no tonight doesn't turn the money back, all right? A vote no tonight doesn't, we're not walking away from this whole project. This money's already targeted, it's already going to be spent. And, you know, it's unfortunate that it took a 100-year global pandemic where millions of people died to actually have everybody in this room right now with that amount of money, all right? Is Scranton thriving? Yes. I'm living here long enough to know that Scranton is thriving. And the gentlemen that Mr. Evans and Mr. Durkin mentioned are great people doing great things, and they have faith in our city, and they should be commended. And it's admirable for what they do. But if 7B and 7C doesn't pass, this project doesn't die. All the other things that are associated with this overall project will continue. I just want that for clarity's sake. All the infrastructure things that need to be done will be done. And I was also glad to hear the gentleman who lives on Washington Avenue that feels safe to walk downtown 9 blocks. That's fantastic. Because like I said earlier, I lived long enough to know when it wasn't safe to walk downtown. Almost every night or any night, even on the weekends. But like I said earlier, in the past couple weeks, I just wish, you know, this one-time huge revenue stream coming to us in the form of ARPA money, some of that, some more of that money maybe would have transcended into some of the neighborhoods where people who live in West Scranton, South Side, North Scranton don't feel safe walking down Main Avenue at night. And that's a fact. I mean, I hear it all the time. So I just wish, like I said, I'm for this project. I don't have to like all of it. And I'm being honest that I don't. But I did my homework too. So with that said, like I said, I wish, you know, some more of the money was targeted more so in the neighborhoods. Not just new parks. They were needed and that money was allocated. But in the form where not all of it's put downtown, some more in the neighborhoods where it's needed. And also what I find very interesting is we had 2 caucuses 2 weeks in a row, right? We heard from administration that we got to slow everything down. That's part of this whole walkability thing. We're slowing everything down for everybody, right? But last week there was a question posed to administration. It's question 1C. And this question was posed to administration. Are the stop signs being installed to prevent speeding in the downtown? The PA State MUTCD guide states stop signs should not be used for speed control. It's questions, fair enough. I didn't pose it. But the answer we got from administration, like I said, for the past 2 weeks I've heard, we got to slow everything down. That's why we're putting in these stop signs, replacing streetlights with stop signs, because everybody's going too fast. The response from administration is the stop signs are not for speeding. Well, then what are they for? If I was told the past 2 weeks they're to slow everything down, then what are they for? They're only to replace signalized intersections where the signal is not warranted. So I don't know, you know? All right, so that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McAndrew. City Council received a letter. It's called Fire Tree Limited. It's from West 4th Street in Williamsport. And the purpose of this letter is to inform you that Fire Tree Limited has submitted an offer to provide residential reentry center services, or a halfway house services, for federal offenders releasing within the City of Scranton limits. This action is being taken in response to a request, an RFP by the Federal Bureau of Prisons. I'm not going to read this entire letter, but this will be put into third order for next week so everyone can look at it. Fire Tree Limited is proposing to provide these services at 409-411 Olive Street, Scranton, Pennsylvania. This property was purchased from the Diocese of Scranton, who operated the reentry facility under the name of Catholic Social Services until their contract was terminated. So this is a reentry program, and I believe everybody should look into this. So we will have this in third order next week. Thank you.
Quick question, Mr. Smurl. Last week, during the summer, I asked the question, and I asked again last week about the West Side Gateway project. I asked about funding, if the funding was available, because I was told that the funding was available. And the answer that I got back was funding is in place for the gateway signage. So that's great. Can we find out what the funding source is for that gateway signage? It's been something that I've been asking for quite some time.
I will, sir.
Another answer that I got was recently the magistrate's hearing held on mid-October for 1405 Cherry Street due to illegal short-term rentals. What was to be next? What was going to happen next for this property owner? And the answer that came back was the owner of 1405 Cherry Street did not attend the magistrate hearing. The city received a default judgment in the amount of $675.25. Should the owner continue to operate the short-term rental, the city's option is to file for additional civil suits in magisterial court or attempt an injunction in common pleas court. So internet listings show the home as for sale with the new buyer is pending. So they're the next actions that are going to happen. Sorry, I forgot to report that out earlier.
Thank you.
5B for introduction, an ordinance amending file to council number 31, 2024, an ordinance as amended entitled Approving and Accepting the City of Scranton Capital Budget, which includes a Capital Reserve Fund spending plan for the year 2025 pursuant to Section 904 of the city's Home Rule Charter and filed to Council number 11 of 2024 by amending certain line items in the 2025 capital budget and the 2025 Capital Reserve Fund spending plan, and to add new line items in the 2025 capital budget and the 2025 Capital Reserve Fund spending plan.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5B be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, and so moved.
5C for introduction, an ordinance amending abandoned property code to expand registration requirements for vacant properties, strengthen enforcement, place additional requirements on vacant properties, and enact related provisions.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5C be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved. Second.
On the question? Well, on the question, this is the ordinance that I've drafted and I've been working on for a few weeks. It's to create a vacant or abandoned property registry to go along with the Blight Committee and also the other things that we are doing there. But what I want to make perfectly clear is this does not affect any that are already listed for the rental registration, any government buildings, or any Lackawanna County tax buildings or tax bureau registry. So none of those properties have to be, and neither does any. This is very important because we've had a lot of people call and request that they've been being billed for multifamily units. If you live in a multifamily unit, a double block, and I'll take, for example, a lady that had called a few months back. She was being billed for 2 apartments. Her family had moved out years ago, and she has two electric meters. So we cannot bill someone for a vacant property that has been existing. And really, if it's owner-occupied, there is no reason to make them pay for an apartment or anything at all. So that is stipulated in this, that you are not responsible to the city to report any of that. So that it won't be a headache going forward, and it should eliminate it from all the other ones. That's it. Anyone else? All those in favor of introduction, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, so moved.
5D for introduction, a resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute, engage in, and record any and all documents necessary to grant the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Transportation a right-of-way and temporary construction easement related to replacing the culvert on the corner of Yard Avenue and West Market Street, and accept payment from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for the right-of-way and temporary construction easement.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5D be introduced and into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, so moved.
Sixth order, no business at this time. Seventh order, 7A, for consideration by the Committee on Public Works for adoption, filed to Council Number 97, 2025, installing all-way stops in certain downtown intersections for added pedestrian safety.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Works?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Works, I recommend final vote on item 7A.
Second.
On the question,
On the question, last 2 weeks it has been brought up, I think Ms. Leslie Collins brought it up, that this has there's two modes with this. One is aging infrastructure that needs to be replaced, and the other is difficult traffic patterns. With this plan, I do agree with the aging infrastructure. I do agree with bump outs near the Ritz Theater. I do agree with water issues and storm basins by downtown Delhi and some of these other places. I do agree with the infrastructure piece. As it was said before, this plan isn't contingent upon two-way streets and stoplight removal, and it is not a lot of stoplight removals. However, everybody that I've spoken to, my constituents, do not like the removal of these stoplights. It is around Courthouse Square, and as I said prior, it's not. This plan is not contingent upon these actions. So I'll be voting no to 7A tonight.
so on the question, when I was at all of these meetings, and I attended another meeting with the Secretary of Transportation of Pennsylvania, and at that meeting, we spoke about the entire package. And at that point, it was probably 9 or 10 months in waiting for an approval from PennDOT on the entire package. They don't approve one section of this. They approve the entire package. If we change one section of it, it goes back to PennDOT. And then this simply will not happen because PennDOT doesn't do anything fast.
So yes, that was stated at the meeting last week, I believe by Eileen Cipriani, that if the plan changes, it will have to go back out to PennDOT for those permits, and I would be in agreement with that to try to get this moving along and to go back out to PennDOT for those permits.
On the question, I will be voting for progress.
On the question, I'll be voting yes on this. Over the past couple of weeks, I've explained why I'm in support of this piece of legislation. I appreciate all the people who came out tonight to express their thoughts on this, as well as to share their expertise and those experts that we have heard from over the past few weeks. I've also in the past attended a presentation from Jeff Speck, and I've heard from people over the years about this and the different things that were proposed initially, and then from what we see here tonight. I do believe that there is a pedestrian safety issue within Scranton, and that's evident by the data showing the accidents, the pedestrians that have been hit and some killed as a result. And I want to make downtown as safe as possible. I know that one person who spoke tonight did not feel that downtown was considered a neighborhood. However, the definition of a neighborhood is that it's a geographic area where people live, often defined by its character, local institutions, or physical boundaries like streets. So I think that definition fits for downtown. There are people who live here, and we have had a lot of progress in downtown over the years. It's a lot more lively. I enjoy often coming downtown, and I believe that these changes will be impactful and helpful for our downtown. I also, I don't believe that the status quo is working, and so sometimes change is needed for that, and not everyone welcomes change or feels comfortable with that, and I understand that, but I think there's opportunity to try this and see how it's working and make changes down the line if needed. There were a couple of, I have been taking people's concerns into account as well, and we did receive responses to Mr. Post's questions from last week. I know Councilman McAndrew had mentioned one of them already. Some of the other questions that I just want to bring up too, we received responses to. He had asked if the study considered the flashing beacons like those near the university and some trail crossings in the city as an additional safeguard of pedestrians, and they said that they have included flashing beacons at the intersections. There's another question regarding the turning safety, if there would be enough space for fire trucks to turn, and they said that they have truck turn simulations at each intersection that includes fire trucks and larger delivery vehicles, and those exhibits are included in the study. And there's also a question about an easement for the Radisson, but I just want to put out the responses we had received on that. So I feel comfortable with the information that I have moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
No.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
No.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes. I hereby declare item 7A legally and lawfully adopted.
7B for consideration by the Committee on Public Works for adoption, filed to Council number 98, 2025, authorizing the conversion of certain portions of the downtown from one-way streets to two-way streets and from two-way to one-way streets as outlined and specified herein.
What is recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Works?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Works, I recommend final vote on item 7B.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
No.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
No.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes. I hereby declare item 7B legally and lawfully adopted.
7C for consideration by the Committee on Public Works for adoption, filed to Council number 99, 2025, establishing no parking zones and portions of certain roadways to confirm the state regulations and to improve pedestrian safety.
What is recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Works?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Works, I recommend final passage of item 7C.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes. I hereby declare item 7C legally and lawfully adopted.
7D for consideration by the Committee on Rules for adoption, resolution number 272, 2025, reappointment of Michael Hanley as a member of the Scranton Housing Authority Board for a term to expire September 27, 2030.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7D.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7D legally and lawfully adopted.
7E for consideration by the Committee on Public Safety for adoption, resolution number 273, 2025, accepting a donation presented to the City of Scranton Fire Department from Wayne and Catherine Beck in the amount of $100.
What is recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety, I recommend final passage of item 7E.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7E legally and lawfully adopted.
7F for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, resolution number 274, 2025, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application by the Office of Economic and Community Development of the City of Scranton to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania acting through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for a local share account grant for up to $314,768 to be used towards the Route 307 Music Street Scenic Lookout renovation project.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7F.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothschild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, hereby declares item 7F legally and lawfully adopted.
7G for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 275, 2025, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application by the Office of Economic and Community Development of the City of Scranton to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for a local share account grant for up to $1 million to be used towards the Lackawanna Avenue Streetscape project.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7G.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothschild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7G legally and lawfully adopted.
7H for consideration by the Committee on Rules for adoption, Resolution Number 276, 2025, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with Baseline Contracting, Inc. for the West Side Gateway Streetscape project.
As chairperson of the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7H.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothschild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7H legally and lawfully adopted.
7I for consideration by the Committee on Public Works for adoption, Resolution Number 277, 2025, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with Leeward Construction, Inc. to perform Fawnwood Phase 1 stormwater improvement services.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Works?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Works, I recommend final passage of item 7I.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothschild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7I legally and lawfully adopted.
8th order, no business at this time.
Before we adjourn, Mr. Evans, will you give us copies of those letters from the, you gave them to Alice? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. If there's no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.